Since football came to South America at the end of the 19th century, strikers, wingers and attacking midfielders have been the player to capture the imagination of the fans on European clubs in search of some special quality to augment their teams. It is attackers and creators who get the glory and become icons. The philosophy of the famous 1940s River Plate team sums up the continent's values: to win, to please, and to score goals, from Diego Maradona and Romario through to Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez, and don't forget Alexis Sanchez. These players have long been celebrated all over Europe for their flair, skill and goals, breaking transfers records and winning titles as they go. They are the most famous products of nations whose football cultures are supposed to value these traits above all others, and they usually have the individual awards and honors to prove it, but these aren't the only types of player to be found in South America. Clubs are now paying more attention to the defensive talent that can be found across the Atlantic, and are increasingly prepared to pay the kind of money that has previously been reserved for poaching the next big Argentinian or Brazilian striking sensation. Last summer, Spurs signed 21-year-old Colombian centre-back Davinson Sanchez from Ajax for a club record £38 million. On top of breaking their own benchmark, Sanchez became the second most expensive South American defender in history. Davinson Sanchez wins a header against Apoel Nicosia in the Champions League. Image, Julian Finney, Getty Images. Sanchez, who first came to Europe as a 19-year-old to follow the well-worn path usually taken by forwards, and is now symbol of a shift. There's a new breed of South American prospect. Born in Coloto in southwest Colombia, Sanchez signed up to América de Cali's academy as a child, an hour's drive from his home. It was the club of his dreams, but impatient, unsatisfied and unrated in a midfield role, the youngster moved across the country to the city of Medellin to play for Atlético Nacional, an hour's flight from his home. Despite the greater distance, and the requirement to play for a club he didn't support, unlike América de Cali, Sanchez saw the chance to progress. Nacional had a track record of preparing players for Europe, having recently trained up Arsenal goalkeeper David Ospina and Napoli wing-back Juan Zuniga. Yet he didn't get off to the most auspicious of starts in Colombia's second city. Disillusioned and indignant at his lack of success with the national team, who had snubbed him at under-17 level, he did not walk into Nacional's first team. He wanted to do it all on his own, remembers his youth coach Felipe Marino, which made Sanchez a disorganized and clumsy midfielder. Ultimately, it was his aggression and frustration, coupled with his speed, that led to manager Juan Carlos Osorio moving him into defense. In the more disciplined centre-back role, he was finally handed a place in the first-team place in 2016. That season, Nacional won the Copa Libertadores for only the second time in their history. It's rare for South Americans to credit match-winning performances to defenders, but as the underdogs, up against some of the continent's most feared forward lines, it was Sanchez who stepped up. Davinson Sanchez challenges Alexis Sanchez. The young midfielder-turned-defender played every minute of the knockout stages and helped his team to 6 clean sheets in their group stage matches. Players are well aware that European scouts use the Copa Libertadores to scope out the latest South American talent. Gabriel Jesus caught Manchester City's attention with his performances in the competition, and Barcelona have reportedly made contact with Gremio midfielder Arthur following this year's finals. But it was Sanchez, the centre-back, who attracted attention and generated the kind of hype, singled out by Latin American newspapers as a great player for the future. Even before the final, Barcelona prematurely declared that a €4 million deal for the defender had been negotiated. Once again, the defender took a different path to the usual trajectory expected of a player in his position. He signed for Ajax instead, confident that he would make it to the top without needing to grind it out for the Catalans' reserves, and he was right. In his one and only season in Amsterdam, he reached the Europa League final, and was named Player of the Year. His 7 goals that season also suggest that the South American desire for a more tangible form of glory is still there for the former midfielder, and he was also able to remove the old chip from his shoulder when it came to the national team to help Colombia secure their qualification for the 2018 World Cup. In Russia, he will be one of the first names on the team sheet, an impressive feat for a young player given the value his country place on experience, especially at the back. The decision to put so much faith in a 21-year-old speaks to the player's exceptional ability, but then he is already exceptional. Davinson Sanchez in action against Real Madrid at Wembley. It is rare for a Colombian defender to break through into the upper levels of European football, especially at Sanchez's age, and while his countrymen may be hesitant to get overexcited, the media have been keeping close tabs on his career at Spurs. Reporters and pundits back home were particularly impressed with his performance against Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League back in September. A country that has long been known for its individual talents, with the likes of Radamel Falcao, James Rodriguez and Juan Cuadrado playing in Europe's top-tier club competition. Colombians are hoping that Sanchez will help the national side become more of a cohesive group, rather than just a team of talented forwards. For £42 million, Tottenham have signed a 21-year-old who has defied the forward-favouring culture of his continent and is already carving out an acclaimed career as a centre-back. Sanchez has the flair and composure that we come to expect from South Americans, compounded by a no-nonsense attitude most commonly attributed to British defenders. Sometimes you just need to kick it into the stands. Davinson understood that perfectly, said Matt Vigis de Ligt, his centre-back partner at Ajax. Not only that, but Sanchez has experience in South American and European finals both as a winner and loser, making him more of a veteran than of the other members of Mauricio Pochettino's squad. It is normal procedure for forwards to be fast-tracked to the Premier League and other elite European leagues. When players such as Gabriel Jesus rise to prominence, they are regarded as the latest in a long line of arrivals who have crossed the water to take Europe by storm, following in the footsteps of those who came before them to score goals and pull tricks. After all, fans need only look to his strike partner Sergio Aguero or his predecessor Carlos Tevez for more of the same. Without wishing to dismiss their talent as individuals, or the impressive way in which they each broke through at an early age to make their mark on the professional game, but to some extent this is to be expected. They're South American forwards. It's what they do. For most supporters alive today, it's what they've always done, and while there have been examples of defenders who have stood out in years gone by, such as Lucio and Diego Godin, Sanchez has stirred the imagination in a way that few others in his position have managed, especially as a youngster. Davinson Sanchez and Tammy Abraham battle for possession since being given a chance with Nacional's first team, and, despite having played fewer than 70 league matches since, his performances have been recognized with a move to Europe and a running total of £46 million in transfer fees. It is no longer just the attacking prodigies being sought from all over South America. Though in the past the big European clubs have scanned Argentina and Brazil for defensive talent, they may begin to look further afield for more gems like Sanchez. The process may already have begun. The number of Colombians, Paraguayans, Uruguayans and Chileans who have played in the Premier League alone has more than doubled since the turn of the decade. For South American forwards, the dream is always Europe, but we are a continent as quick to admire a strong defensive partnership as we are excellent attacking play. With marquee transfers like Sanchez to Spurs, it's likely that more and more defenders will be looking to impress European scouts. An increase in defensive role models may even give some overdue glory to the South American defender, attracting more youngsters to the profession, and perhaps one day making the continent's defensive talent as formidable as its attack. It wouldn't be the first time in the era of football as a truly global sport that one eye-catching example of a player changes expectations over the talent a country and a region can produce. Keep up to date with the latest news, features and exclusive from Football London via the free Football London app for iPhone and Android. Available to download from the App Store and Google Play.